Okay, a treat especial for you. I'm taking the L5P a little apart there, and look at what I found in the intake. A whole bunch of oil. Whole bunch of oil sitting there, and I think the oil came in from you. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so coming on over here, L5P. Here we go. Oh, yeah, look at it. Okay, so we got the L5P coming. Well, the reason it's here is it pushed out the rear main seal. Yes, everyone, I know it's backwards. I just threw it on like that for fun. Doesn't matter. It's gone anyways. Push the oil out, seize the engine, stop the crank. So likely we'll have a bad bearing and need to fix a crankshaft in it, but we'll get there eventually. For starters, I want to talk about what I'm guessing is going to be the culprit here. So I was taking off the intake to the turbo. Lots of oil coming in on the turbo. So a couple indicators. We got oil coming in on the turbo, and we have pushed out rear main seal. This really tells me we likely pressurized the crankcase. So, oh my gosh, how did we pressurize the crankcase? Well, let's talk about this guy here. So this guy is kind of your crankcase ventilation oil separator for the engine. Underneath, it'll absorb vapors from the engine, has a little separator system inside, drops that down. Now, because we don't always have the right type of airflow in these guys, this one is pressurized by the turbo. So we have the turbo outlet here. We have pressurized air coming from the turbo outlet. Comes through here, enters this little chamber here, and inside here, that gets pressurized to kind of motivate the airflow to motivate that oil separation inside of there. I'm suspecting on the other side of this, one of two things can happen. It can either get too hot or too cold. So we'll freeze up with water inside of there. Inside it cracks, and then we have pressurized air pushing directly into the crankcase, pushing crankcase vapors out this hole and into the intake, or pressurizing the crankcase and pushing seals out. So it kind of makes sense in where I live, in my part of the world where it gets obscenely cold. Lots of short drives, not heating the engine up to get the moisture out of the crankcase, getting some excessive moisture in the crankcase. You end up with pooling water in here. That pooling water freezes. It'll either block the airflow or crack the housing itself. And then when that airflow is blocked, this pressure just ends up pressurizing the crankcase and damaged. The other thing that happens is you put a huge amount of boost through these engines and you put a whole bunch of work through it. This guy gets excessively hot, ends up melting some of the plastic in and around here. Again, same result though, cracks the opening, ends up ruining the airflow. The pressurized air goes directly into your crankcase, pushing oil out this hole and into the turbo intake, or pushing out seals. So either way, that looks like that may be the culprit for the issues that I'm seeing on this engine. I really do suspect it's from the cold weather because of where I live. And when we look right down at the inlet, there's not a lot of signs of high heat there. That's a pretty reasonable amount of temperature. And judging by how much oil we have in the intake and everything, I think we have a freeze up issue. So we might find it cracked, or we might just find that it had water freeze up in it. You had the quick failure, and la-di-da, we're done. If you want your engines to live a long time, for gosh sake, stop the short drives. At least once a week, run it a good 15, 20, 30 minutes. Get that engine hot, get those vapors burned off so that you don't have long-term accumulating water inside of your engine, which causes some of these catastrophic failures.